If you're a pop culture junkie who loves TV, film, music, comedy, and other really important stuff, then you've come to the right place. Get ready and settle in for Classic Conversations, the best pop culture interviews in the world. That's right, we circled the globe so you don't have to. If you're ready to be the king of the water cooler, then you're ready for Classic Conversations with your host, Jeff Dwoskin.
All right, Marsha, thank you so much for that amazing introduction. You get the show going each and every week, and this week was no exception. Welcome, everybody, to episode 336 of Classic Conversations. As always, I am your host, Jeff Dwoskin. Great to have you back for what's sure to be a classic conversation for the ages. My guest today is none other than Lynne Moody. Lynne is renowned for her work in the groundbreaking miniseries Roots, the TV show That's My Mama, the classic sitcom Soap, and so much more. And we're diving in just a few seconds. And in these few seconds, head back to the Batcave with me. Joel Eisner was here last week. We dove into his Batman 66 TV book, the official Batman Bat book. If you love Batman 66, that is the episode for you. But right now, we're talking with Lynne Moody. Lynne has a personal story that you are not going to believe. We're diving into Soap, That's My Mama, her connection to the Jeffersons. Very interesting. So much. All right, let's get to it right now. All right, everyone, I'm excited to introduce my next guest. Loved her in That's My Mama, Roots, Knots Landing, Soap, and so much more. Welcome to the show, the legendary Lynne Moody. Hey.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here. You can see me all right?
I can see you. You look great.
Okay, now I'm good.
I was born in Detroit also. I saw you were born in Detroit. You weren't raised in Detroit?
No. I left when I was, 2 or 3.
All right. Well, you still got it, though. It's always, we're Michigan. We claim you. So we're all Michiganders. All the great ones come from Michigan.
Well, I like that. I'll go along with that.
I'm excited just to dive into everything that you've done. But when did you know you wanted to be an actress or an entertainer?
When I was a little girl, I always, for some reason, I don't know how I got that in my head, but I always wanted to perform. I would beg my mother to let me be on stage when we were at certain concerts. And I just really liked to perform. And I had a teacher, Mr. Clark, who really put the bug in me. And he encouraged me because he would have us do skits all the time in class. So very early on, I wanted to perform. And I think my parents felt the best way to discourage me would be not to encourage me or discourage me, but just act like it isn't even in my mind, But they were proud at the end.
So your passion won through. So did you start out in plays or in high school and college or?
Yes, actually in high school, in junior high, we moved to Evanston. I did some plays there in junior high and I just loved it. It was a different time then because there wasn't a lot there for me as an African American. It was all pretty, much Caucasian. But I did have a couple of parts playing slave girl, like in Tad Lincoln in the White House. That was in junior high. And I played the little slave girl, Sarabella. But then people teased me about it. But then so many years later, I would be playing a slave in Roots to a much different reaction. Everyone then was like, Roots, yes. Because it was the first time that Roots was told from the slave's point of view. So that's what made it stand out in the beginning for me. Alex Haley, that wonderful man, 12 years researching and writing that book. There was just so much love involved and respect and appreciation because this project, which was a mini-series, and had so many wonderful people involved in it. Stan Margulies, who was the producer, and David Wolper, who was the executive producer. And there was such love. I can't talk about Stan Margulies enough. We called him the heart and soul man for Roots because he cared so deeply. And Sorry about that. That was a surprise. But yeah, so it was very, very, very special, and everyone knew it. And then when they did Roots, the Next Generations, they had a bigger budget, so they could get other people that weren't in the original, such as James Earl Jones. But there's a lot of pride and love from Roots.
Well, when you look back at the original Roots, though, I mean, Louis Gossett Jr., Ben Vereen, John Amos, there's a bit for no budget. They
Yes, because of the love, because of the story, because of Alex Haley spending 12 years and writing that book. And Lou Gossett, what a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful human being as Fiddler, and who passed, as you know, recently, a giant. And Ben as Chicken George, Ben Vereen, wonderful. So everything was about, in Roots One, everything was about doing it for the love of the work, of the show, for the project, for everyone involved.
Amazing. And it's still revered to this day.
Yeah, I think it still has a lot of respect because of what it did at the time. I guess it's a little dated in certain areas, of course, but nevertheless, it's still there.
Well, anytime you can make something, anything in the 70s or anything, once you go decades later, anything when you look back, it can. But it's, if the majority of it can hold up, it's a real testament.
It was because of the ratings as well. The ratings were off the charts, and it was because there was a storm in the Midwest, in the East Coast, I believe, at the time, that made everyone stay home and watch Roots. So we got a little help from Mother Nature in that department.
Hey, whatever it takes, right? Divine intervention, make sure everyone got to see it. Yeah, there was, who else was that? I mean, Ed Asner. I'm just looking at the IMDb real quick. Ed Asner, Lloyd Bridges.
Wonderful, wonderful man, Ed Asner. Wonderful human being. I liked him so much.
He was really cool. I got to talk to him just before he passed away on the podcast.
Yeah.
He was a good guy.
Good guy, and did a lot for us with the union too, with our health benefits. He helped a lot with that before he died. Still, Ed Asner.
So going back to your original role as Slave Girl 1 in the play in high school, when you were just starting out and everything was Caucasian and there were very limited roles, who were the people that you would see in TV or movies that represented you that you could they used as a role model, or kind of thought, okay, this is possible?
Yes, people ask me that, and I really don't know what to say, how to answer it. I remember when I was in my first year at college, Pasadena Playhouse, everyone was talking about their idols, and I didn't really have a reference. Ethel Waters was doing a play, Member of the Wedding, at Pasadena Playhouse. And so her name came out of my mouth when they said, who do you admire most? I said, Ethel Waters, because bless her heart, she was a wonderful person. She was doing a play at Pasadena Playhouse. I was a student. I was having a conversation with some of the other students, and it was getting heated and whatnot. They were talking about morals and how if you want to be an actor, you have to lay aside your morals and do what they want you to do in the casting room. And I was so upset. And I was, tears in my eyes. And I went to school, back door, and Ethel Waters was getting ready to go on stage. She was sitting on a chair, because this was at the Playhouse. She was sitting on a chair. I guess she was waiting for her cue, but she had some oxygen mask on her face. And I said, Miss Waters, can I talk to you for a minute? And she said, no, honey, not right now. And so I said, can I ask you a question? She said, no, honey, not right now. So I went to the elevator, pressed it to go up to the classes were, above the theater. And then she said, okay, honey, what is it? What is it that you wanted to ask me? And I just blurted out, do you have to lose your morals in order to make it? She said, no, you don't. Don't you dare. It's not worth it. I'm so glad she came back to me with that. And I'm so glad I had the nerve to even ask her. It was a special moment between her getting ready to go on stage and me, a student.
Good thing she caught you before you got in the elevator. Who knows? You may have thrown your morals right out the door. Who knows? Where would we be right now?
That's That's a funny thought. No, I wouldn't. I was just young and dumb.
Before being an actress, you worked at the Playboy Club. You were a Playboy bunny.
Oh, yes. When I came to California, I needed a job at night so that my days could be free to audition and study and take classes and all of that. And I had been to the Playboy Club with some friends, and the manager said, I would hire you in a minute. And I thought, oh, no, 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 no. I could never be a bunny. My parents would just, disown me or something like that. And then, I don't know, a few weeks later, a month later, I'd had an agent and stuff like that. And I went back to the Playboy Club and auditioned, and applied for the job. And so they gave it to me and I did it for a while. And it was a really growing experience. I'm so not sorry. I'm glad that I was able to do that. It was fun.
You get to the ears and
Yes, and the bunny tail and the cuffs and the little, bow tie.
Did you meet Hugh Hefner?
No, because I was at the mansion a couple of times, so I saw him, but I never had a conversation with him or anything. He was always around doing his thing, in his pajamas.
That's the dream, right? Have a job where you can wear pajamas all the time.
If that's your thing, I'm going to let clothes myself. But
all right. So many cool stories as I kind of dug into your amazing career. Let's talk All in the Family Jeffersons for a second. You were the original Jenny Willis.
Yes.
It's interesting because I don't know that I'd ever seen that episode. I've seen the Jeffersons, but I don't think the episode of All in the Family that you're in, but they had cast that ended up becoming that whole part of the family, but all different actors. So it's fun.
Yeah.
Right? It's like everyone got replaced. Did you know this was a backdoor pilot when you were doing it and that there was a possibility or?
Well, actually, kind of and no, because I got That's My Mama. And Mike Evans had told me that, you should have stayed. We would have done this or something. And I wondered where the job was. I auditioned for That's My Mama. I got the part. I was happy. That was that. And I think Berlinda was lovely as the character in the spinoff, the Jeffersons. And I actually did a couple of shows on the Jeffersons after about, 4 or 5 years. This is a small town, isn't it?
Well, it was just interesting watching the pilot. It's like it was all the characters were there, the All in the Family episode, but none of the actors went. So it's like
right.
It was a little misleading. It was like Lynne Moody cast as the original. The headline makes it seem like they kicked you out. And I was just like, none of them. They didn't take any of the characters.
No, I was already, contracted on That's My Mama when that started.
All right. So you couldn't have done it anyway.
I was on That's My Mama. So the timing was not there at all. And the only reason that I say that is because Mike Evans did say to me later on when I saw him somewhere, you could have done this if you hadn't done that.
Got it.
Everything works out for the best.
Everything works out for the best. Absolutely. So talk to me about That's My Mama.
That was my first series. I had a really nice, close relationship with Mama, Teresa Merritt. She was wonderful. And Ted Lange and Theodore Wilson and Lyle Wilson and, of course, Clifton. So many of them have passed, but I did see a couple of reruns with the wonderful Jester Harrison and DeForest Covan, the two old gentlemen in the barbershop that came from old Hollywood, because I'd seen films that Jester had done from the 40s. It's amazing how time flies. I mean, I know that's a saying, but it really does, because it just seems like last week when, we were doing That's My Mama. But if I look in the mirror, I know it wasn't last week or like last century.
Yeah, I remember when I was talking to Ted Lange, and he was like, because this show got canceled and ended, and then he ended up on The Love Boat. And so, okay, so you did season 1, but not season 2 of
That's My Mama, right.
Were you trying to get back on the Jeffersons? No, I'm just kidding.
No. My agent called me with the news. You're doing Las Vegas Lady. You're not doing That's My Mama. And I went, okay. So Las Vegas Lady was a movie with Stella Stevens and Stuart Whitman shot in Las Vegas. I did that. I still had a good relationship with the people on That's My Mama, particularly Mama. I would even pick her up from work sometimes after I finished my movie. Everybody, went on and did their thing. Clifton had 2 other shows after that. So I don't know what else to say about that.
Well, why did they let you go to do the movie if you were...
Well, they didn't contract me back on That's My Mama. They said, she's too pretty for the part. It doesn't work. That's ridiculous. But whatever, it's fine. Because of my immediately having another job and things working out, I got another job and series. So. Well,
one season in, I mean, the prettiness has left the train, the train has left the station. It seems like that's horrible. That you were too pretty for the job, so they said goodbye.
That's what they said, that pretty girls can't be funny. I don't even know why I gave that life by repeating it, because that's what they said. Anyway, excuse me, that was my dog barking.
Oh, no worries. What kind of dog do you have?
He's part Boston Terrier and part Shih Tzu. He's a good little guy, but he's getting on my nerves right now because he's got too much to say.
I have a little Maltese.
Oh, you know what dog spelled backwards is?
God.
Yes, and they are so loving, aren't they?
There's nothing better than a dog. Love, love, love dogs. We had a cat also. Wasn't the same thing.
I'm a dog lady for sure, a dog person.
Okay, so Las Vegas lady needs pretty lady, and so they scoop you away from That's My Mama, where you were too pretty. Okay, so...
They just said pretty girls can't be funny. That's what the producers had said. But anyway...
That's not true.
Right, of course it's not true. So the bottom line is they went another way.
Okay, so I have Ben Vereen follow-up, 10-speed and brown shoe. Do you remember that one?
Yes, and Jeff Goldblum.
And Jeff Goldblum, yes.
Yeah, it was great. It's fun.
I remember that show because I used to watch it. But the thing that keeps it in the back of my mind, so when I saw it, I had to ask you about it, is when we'd go to New York and I saw Ben Vereen and Fosse, and we're the type of people that we wait outside the door for people to come out. This was a long time ago. And so Ben Vereen just walks out and we're like, hey, Ben, and we take a picture with him. And a long time ago. And my friend had always said, when you meet someone famous, bring up something unique so that they'll want to talk to you. Don't bring up the obvious thing. So when I met him, and later, many years later, when I ran into Jeff Goldblum on the streets of New York also, this was the show that I brought up. Like, oh, I loved you in 10-speed and brown shoe. And it was always, it was fun for me because I'm like, oh, I met both the entire main cast of 10-speed and brown shoe. I have photos with them. So it was just one of those things. So when I saw it on your thing, I was like, ooh, I got to ask about that.
Oh, I'm sure Ben was tickled because, that's complimentary and sweet.
Yeah. Sticking with the Ben Vereen theme, I think I saw a picture of you on the Love Boat, which I love talking about trips on the Love Boat.
Oh, yes.
And Ben was on the Love Boat with you as well, if I believe. Yes.
Yes. Ben, I was his love interest as well as Denise, the lovely Denise Nicholas. And we had a great time on that shoot. Ben and myself and Denise Nicholas had a triangle kind of thing. It was fun. It was fun.
Love, exciting and new.
Yes.
Come aboard.
We're expecting you.
Look at this. We're a great team. But also Ted Lange. So there's your That's My Mama reunion with Ted, huh?
It's a small world. It really is a small world when you can have those kinds of relationships come about so often.
We were introduced by Marsha Williams, and so the connection there is soap. You just had a big soap reunion at the Hollywood show. Was that cool?
Yes, very nice.
Now, you were in season 3 of soap.
Okay.
Holly Dawson. Okay.
Yeah, I did 1 season and 2 shows from the new season. It's such a unique show, and they had so many talented people on it, and it was fun. And it was one of the few times an interracial couple was on TV, and we even had a kiss on TV, and that was rare for that time period. Ted Was, I was his love interest on that. Danny.
There was a lot of smooching in the laundromat. Yeah. and, and other places.
The laundromat was a fun scene. They would, before we got into the laundromat, they had buckets of water right outside the door so that when we opened the door, we'd be drenched with the water. The first show, the water was cold and it was like, oh no, we don't like this, but we had to do the scene. And then when we did the second show, you do 2 shows. The second show, they had really nice, warm water. We were fully clothed and everything, but still. So that was a fun bit.
It was funny because Danny couldn't get it out of his head. He was into you. You could tell you guys were in love, but he always saw everyone else as judging 2 of you. And then the father from the 70s show gets in you gets right in his face, but all he wanted was Danny's shirt. It's a funny exchange. Were you a fan of the show before you joined the show?
I don't know that I was a fan because I wasn't really, because I was an actor, trying to do work. I didn't really watch any particular show consistently. I watched to see what was going on, to see what people were doing, to see what I might be available for. So those were, different intentions in watching shows or not watching them.
Did it add to the controversy, or was it a big deal, the interracial relationship? I know it was a newer in the 70s to even just show that, but was there any blowback in real life at the time? Because that show was always under the microscope anyway, since the day it launched.
Not really. Not that I can remember. I do remember the producers said that they didn't really get hate mail. They only got one sort of postcard that said, "We don't kiss niggers back here." And I think it was from Wisconsin, the letter that they sent, the postcard that they sent to the studios. The only one. That was nothing.
I'm sorry that happened. A postcard. Nothing lazier than a postcard. Don't even have time to put in an envelope.
Ignorance isn't always bliss.
No, but only one letter. I guess you can deal with one idiot.
Oh, yes. At least that's what they told us, that they didn't get significant hate mail at all, just a postcard that was so blatant.
Of course, by season 3, everyone may have been exhausted complaining about the show. So it's funny because when you go back and you watch it now, it doesn't, if that had come out right now, there's a lot of it would be like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry to interrupt. Have to take a quick break. I want to thank everyone for their support of the sponsors. When you support the sponsors, you're supporting us here at Classic Conversations, and that's how we keep the lights on. And now back to my conversation with Lynne Moody. All right, so you were also on ER, but not to confuse people with ER, E/R, which was the Elliot Gould comedy. It was a comedy, right?
Right.
And to confuse things even more, George Clooney was in it.
Right. And also Jason Alexander.
And Jason Alexander, right. Now you're pretty and funny again, right? Showing the world you can do it.
It was fun. When you're doing a comedy, and the writers, you have your first day, you sit around the table and read the script. And my goodness, it's just so much fun. I remember when I first started doing this, I thought, I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this. This is so much fun. I love this so much. I can't believe they're paying me. But of course, that didn't last a whole long time. You get out of that period and you go, no, there's not enough money in the world for this, to pay for this. I digress.
Elliot Gould, was he fun to work with?
Yes, he was lovely to work with. Everyone was good to work with that I have worked with so far. Maybe I have selective memory, but I don't remember really nasty scenes. Usually the cast is rooting for each other because they all want the show to work. I have to tell you, that's my mama. I had a big, huge crush on my brother, Clifton Davis. So did lots of other women. But we became friends. And then he did a couple of other series that I actually ended up guest starring on. So that was fun.
Is there a certain sense of comfort and like when you do meet up with people that you've worked with before and you get to work together again?
There is. There's a connection and then there's a fondness, and of course, history, memories. Unless, of course, it was not a good relationship. And then, you just keep moving.
You just said you liked everyone. So I feel like you're holding back on something.
Well, I know this could live forever. So I'm watching what I say a little bit. Of course, you can't like everybody because people are different and they have different, everybody's got different tastes. But you try your best to respect everyone, even if you don't agree with them or like them, to respect them as a human being is what is needed and is a challenge sometimes, of course.
Taking the high road. There's you not throwing out those morals. I like it. I like it in action. We're like, all right, let's see what else. Other cool stuff that you have done. Okay, so we talked about soap, but also you had a role in the soap spinoff, Benson. You were in love with Robert.
Neil. That's right. I forgot all about that. I don't remember much about that. I don't remember, except I think I only did one episode or two. Maybe it was a 2-episode event.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because it seemed like I pulled it up so I could watch some of it. And it was like, you guys were in love. And I was like, is IMDb wrong? Because it shows one episode of Benson. I was like, but if you're in love, I mean, there's got to be some backstory here. But okay. So it was kind of in and out.
So maybe that's why I don't remember much about it because it just didn't feel right. Maybe it didn't. There was no more. There was no more to it. It didn't work out, I guess.
Yes. Also, it didn't work out. Your marriage to the Richard Pryor's character in Some Kind of Hero.
That didn't work out either.
Yes, he comes home and you're in love with another. How was it working with Richard Pryor?
Oh, he was very sweet. It was after his accident. So he was very vulnerable, wanted to be assured that he wasn't repulsive, because he wasn't. And so he was vulnerable and sweet. He even asked me at one point if, his face, if it bothered me. And I said, oh, no. So he was vulnerable at that time.
Well, it's good that you were there to help him get through that.
He had a lot of support. A lot of support. People love Richard Pryor.
Yeah, everyone loves Richard Pryor. I was just watching the Gene Wilder documentary, and there's a whole thing about their friendship and the movies that they made together. Fascinating. All right, so you were on soap, but then you were also on Real Soaps, General Hospital. That's a daytime soap, right? And then Knots Landing, an evening soap.
General Hospital is easy because I don't even remember it. It was just so quick and not much going on there. But Knots Landing, it was the first Black family in the cul-de-sac, and everyone there was very, very welcoming. It was good, and that lasted as long as it did. And
that was a long run.
Yeah. Well, Knots Landing was on a long, long time. The family and myself were only on like a season and a half. My character got killed. They brought on others to try to make a family, I guess.
Got it.
This business can be tough.
1 minute you got a job and the next minute they're killing you.
Yeah. This business can be a lot of things at the same time.
What advice would you give to somebody who wants to break in and be an actor or actress?
I would say go for it. And I would say follow your heart, follow your dream. And I would also say prepare yourself for a tough ride. Prepare yourself for a hard life in places. Also, a brilliant life in other places. It can up and down. The highs are very high. The lows are very low. So follow your dream. If it's your dream, go for it and hang in there. Otherwise, get out.
Are you glad you did it? Do you have any regrets or like?
I'm glad I did it. I am very glad I did it. And I'm kind of proud of myself for doing it too. Like I said, I didn't have family pushing me or encouraging me in that direction. My parents, or I really would just say good luck and go for it. And be kind. Be kind. I would say that. Be kind. Don't forget to everyone.
So when Marsha reached out to me and she's like, "Oh, I can introduce you to Lynne," and she said, Google Lynne. Go. She goes, "I'm not going to tell you, but just go." So, and it was like the most fascinating story. I mean, all this is amazing, but
Oh, thank you.
But the reunion of you and your daughter after 50 years it was really heart touching. It was like, really tugged at the heartstrings to watch that.
And the thing it is that so we are going to do a podcast. My daughter and I. She wants to do this podcast. She's getting it ready, and she's going to call it Conversations with Mom.
That is a great name for a podcast. I love it. You were younger and you were pregnant, and then where you were working, what was the...
No, I was young. I was at school. I came out to California to go to Pasadena Playhouse. So I was 17. My birthday's in February. In February, I turned 18. In April, I went to a party with a guy one time, got pregnant, changed my whole life at school. I stopped talking to everybody. I stopped eating. I stopped going to classes. People were wondering what was wrong with me. The directors would come and say, "What's wrong? I don't even want you on that stage if you can't do this or can't do that. What is happening?" And I couldn't talk to anybody because I was pregnant. And that was the worst thing in the world. So I finally told my parents on the phone. I got sent to this home for unwed mothers. I stayed there for a very long time because I went in so early. I was barely showing. And then delivered. My parents thought that it would be best if I didn't see her. So they put a towel over my face when she was born, a little cloth. So I couldn't see her, but I could hear her. I could hear her cry, and I could just say, "I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry, baby." And I was crying. That's all I could say. And then they took her away, and there I was. So I had to sign away all my rights so that she could be adopted. And I did that because I wanted her to be adopted. They assured me she'd be adopted right away because of my background, whatever. So they said the forms that I had to fill out and sign, in order for her to be adopted, I had to sign away all my rights. All my rights. I could not find out about the adoption, about her, about anything. So I signed away all my rights, but they said, she can find out about you. They can find out about you, where you are, anything like that, because that was the law at that time. So I go on with my life after I leave there. I try to, regroup and I go on. And so I go on with my life. And then I try to live with the knowledge that I have a daughter. I don't know if she's dead or alive, if she's happy or sad, if she's been adopted or not, if she's in trouble or anything. I don't know any of that. So I try to live with that knowledge that I don't have. To make a long story short, then I was at my sister's house in Oregon, get a call from my brother who says, "Emmy, a woman has contacted me that thinks that she might be your daughter." And I went, "Find out when she was born. If she was born December 10th, 1964, then it is her. It is her." And I had been praying all this time that she would try to find me. So with that DNA, I said, "Find out when she was born." And so he said, "Okay." So we hung up. I went for a walk with my dog. I came back 10 minutes later. He called and he said, "Emmy, she was born December 10th, 1964, and she is your daughter." And with that information, my world exploded and changed. I crumbled to the floor. It was like I was giving birth all over again. I was sobbing up with joy. I was screaming. I was running up and down the stairs. I have a daughter. She's alive. Her name is Lisa. She wants to see me. It's not a dirty secret anymore. It's no longer a secret. I have this beautiful daughter. So he said, my brother told me, "She's going to call you in a half hour." So I said, "Well, can I call her?" And he said, yes. So he gave me the number. He said, "She's at work." And so I said, okay. My voice was gone because I'd been crying and screaming. So I call a number, a female answers. I said, "Hello, can I speak to Lisa, please?" And she said, "This is Lisa. Is this my mom?" And at that moment, I can't tell you what went through my entire body. This warm inner calm, this God warm covering me. And I said, "Yes, honey, this is your mom." I'm your mom. In a very calm voice. And both then just said, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, for about, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes. Just, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So I said, can I see you? And so she said, yes. I said, I'm coming back to Los Angeles tomorrow. Can I see you Sunday? And she said, yes. And then I thought, well, maybe, can I see you Saturday when I come in? She said, yes, yes, yes. So that's what happened. I came home Saturday. I knew she was on her way. I kept looking for her. I saw her car pull up in my driveway. I ran out. When I saw her, I opened her car door. I started hugging her and kissing her and hugging her. And it was just beautiful.
That's amazing. It's such an amazing story. So Lisa, your daughter, did a 23andMe, right? And that's how she connected with your brother. They matched, right? The DNA matched.
Right.
What was she looking at that point, or it was just a random thing where she was doing the DNA test?
Right. She had to find out DNA wise because that's all there was. Yeah. She, you got to meet her at some point, Lisa. She's in marketing and she's a lovely, lovely girl. People say, you look just like her. You look just like her. This is what a fan drew of me.
Oh, beautiful.
At that, from a picture.
Love it.
Presented it to me in the autograph signing thing.
So you guys just connected like boom, and it was like.
Oh, yes. We were hugging. She pulled up in the driveway. She could barely get out of the car. I was hugging her and kissing her, and she the same. And she has me on her phone because my grandson is watching all this in videos, you know. So it was real sweet that I got to meet my grandson at the same time.
It's such an amazing story. And like the other piece of the story, which I found amazing, was she grew up watching you on TV. So she knew who you were. Yes.
It's just a thrilling event. I mean, my grandson, people say, you have a grandson? I said, yeah. And they think I'm going to say 3 or 4 or 6 or 7. They say, how old is he? 35. My grandson is 35. Yeah. So
it's such an amazing story. You know, crazy, like technology. I mean,
yes.
I don't know how long 23andMe has been around or that technology's been around, but it's just amazing that.
Yeah. DNA tells everything and can put us together, you know.
I appreciate you sharing all the stories with me, and it's so amazing. I'm really happy that we got to talk.
Me too. And we can stay in touch at some point if you'd like to contact me again or vice versa, because you're cute.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Jeff.
You're the best.
I'm going to see Marcia probably Sunday. I'm going to go to her house for dinner Sunday, so I'll say hello to her.
Yes, please do. Say hello.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Oh, you know who I'm talking to? Jay Johnson.
Oh, cool. Such nice people. The whole group, the whole soap entourage and whatnot.
He was in your episodes. He was in some of your episodes. Like the one where your parents came over to their house and the puppet gets to say all these inappropriate things. It's really interesting. We can get away with stuff because it's a puppet.
Yes.
Oh, man. All right. You're amazing. Thank you for sharing these stories. Tell your daughter hello and tell Marcia hello. And we will talk again.
Absolutely. Bye.
All right. How amazing was Lynne Moody? So many great stories. And how about that reuniting with her daughter? Oh, my God. Amazing. Love that story. Well, the interview's over, so that means we're at the end of another episode. I can't believe it either. Huge thank you to Lynne Moody for hanging out with me. Huge thank you to Marcia for introducing us. And a huge thank you to all of you for coming back week after week. It means the world to me. And I'll see you next time.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Classic Conversations. If you like what you heard, don't be shy and give us a follow on your favorite podcast app. Also, why not go ahead and tell all your friends about the show? You strike us as the kind of person that people listen to. Thanks in advance for spreading the word, and we'll catch you next time on Classic Conversations.